Welcome back to the Bionicle Inspiration series. We spotlight LEGO creations from across the mocking community to give you inspiration and ideas. And you better believe that today is going to be a Hero Factory themed episode, so let's explore the magical and wonderful theme that is Hero Factory and give you ideas to build all kinds of different Hero Factory mocks. So the first mock we have today is Mark Surge. Obviously this one is taking a lot of inspiration from the Brain Attack version of the character, and this was built by Paul X Mock Building. So here's the original Brain Attack Surge set, and this is one of the best versions of Surge, and that's for sure. But it's great to see Paul X really stepping things up and refining the look of this character, like these enhanced wings for example, using the translucent blades that came on this wonderful Ninjago Dragon set, and then combining it with the wings that came on a set like Fantoka Kopaka for example. How lovely. You know, the sleekness of these pieces, they just pair so well together, and they pair very nicely with all the other CCBS armor that's everywhere on this mock. Honestly, I would actually say these look better than the original wings on the official set. They just blend in so much more with the overall aesthetic. They don't really feel out of place, it just makes sense. Now looking towards the shoulders and sort of like the upper arm area of this mock, the design here that's placing a smaller CCBS shell onto a larger one and then connecting them together by the use of some type of bar connection. That's so pretty. A design like this just beautifully covers up so many gaps, and it's a really nice way of also transitioning a limb into the torso. You're really just putting two CCBS pieces together and one bar, 3 pieces, but the results are phenomenal. One other cool area of this mock is the sides of the knees. Putting 2 of those blue cog pieces or kind of wheel pieces, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, doing that, it's a great way to make things just look that little bit more armored and detailed. And it's not something you see every day because a lot of like typical prefab limbs don't really have connections there. But if you're doing a more custom leg design using all sorts of pieces and a few less prefab elements, well then it's a little bit easier to pull off something like this, and look how lovely it looks. Okay, and then oh right, I guess this is another Surge mock. Okay, sorry, I didn't realize. Oh well, twice the Surge, double the fun. Anyway, this is Spacesuit Surge by King Marshy. Dude, heroes in space? I mean, why did we never get a space-themed Hero Factory or Bionicle wave of sets? That would have easily been one of the coolest ideas for a theme. I'm kind of surprised we never got that. Well, okay, look, I guess we did technically get Surge fighting in space in the Breakout wave of sets. He was fighting Splitface. But that was like one mission. I'm talking like a whole wave in the setting of space. Well, it is nice to see how this mock leans into the look of a spacesuit. Using a big old windscreen dome piece like this for a cool retro space helmet, that's a great idea. And I like that a helmet of this size so effectively shows off the original headpiece for Surge. Because that way the character doesn't really get lost. You can still see the head, you can still see the rough shape of the body. Sometimes when you put a helmet on or you really like change things a little bit too much, you lose a lot of the personality of the character. But thankfully all of that is still very much on display here. The helmet is just a nice addition, and what was there before still looks so good. These tubes coming out of the helmet, they're a really nice touch. The blaster looks great. This is wonderful. Lewis Hammond gives us an Invasion from Below themed mock today, and this is Surge's Tank Machine. So Surge's mech in the Invasion from Below sets, it was a really great set, but I don't know, it had a very different look to it compared to say like Rocker's mech and a lot of the other characters' machines. And that's a good thing. The original look of this mech is very refreshing. But maybe you want a more typical look for your mechs. So why not lean into a more humanoid design like this mock is doing? I mean, 2 Zamisphere blaster turrets on the shoulders, baller, and it's so delightful to see a different windscreen piece being used on the cockpit here. Yeah, there's so many different windscreen pieces out there and all of them look great. So instead of recycling the exact same windscreen piece that we see on every single Invasion from Below mech, do something a little different. Give us this nice bubbly design like this one has here. One change of a piece suddenly makes this mock look so different from all of the other mechs. It gives it more personality, it's cool. I mean, the cockpit is essentially the face of all of these mechs. Finding some way of making it look that little bit more distinct, that's definitely something to play around with. Oh gosh, this is another Surge mock. Haha, you've been bamboozled. So welcome to the Oops All Surge episode of the Bionicle Inspiration series. Because today's my birthday and I said, hey, what kind of video do you want to do today? You can make it whatever you want, what's going to bring you joy? And I said, well, an episode that is entirely about Surge, that would bring me joy. So here you go. Plenty of Surge mocks for you today. Hopefully they inspire you to build a Surge mock of your own. I'd love to see your interpretation of the best Hero Factory character ever, and that's Mark Surge. The next Surge mock today is by Bionicle Fetish, and this is called, well, it's Surge, obviously. I don't know what we were expecting there. Now, check this out. So, dark azure and blue with little hints of silver and light bluish grey. I adore that. Now, I can't say I've ever really seen dark azure being introduced on a Surge mock before, but it looks really good. Something else that's nice here is this torso design, placing the tiny 1x1 round tile with the Hero Factory logo on it. These ones came, of course, in the Invasion from Below sets on every single one of the minifigures. Yeah, using that on the torso, so good. Because hey, you know, sometimes Hero Factory logos, they can be quite large pieces. Especially on some of the original Hero Factory sets, those logos were huge and you kind of had to embed them in the torso piece. Yeah, you could use them outside of that context, but it's a little bit more difficult to make it look good. It almost forced you to use that torso piece, and that can be a little bit more limiting if you want to make your own custom torso design, right? So if you do want to go that direction, do this. Use the smallest Hero Factory logo, and then that way you've got a lot more creative freedom. You can do whatever you want with the torso design, and you don't really have to worry too much about how you're going to put the logo on. Plus, when you make a nice torso design like this, you can get some really lovely stuff, like the inclusion of some of these minifigure arm pieces there on the waist area. That's a really nice way to just round things off a little bit, add in a little bit of detail, and make the torso look sick. Kasaba is our next builder, and they've made a mock that's called Storm Herald. Oh, and we've got another lovely color scheme here, some lime and blue. Very nice color combination. I love all this armor around the cockpit, and actually all of the armor everywhere on this mock. This is a very robust and well-armored mech suit, which is always delightful to see. The lightning coming out of the top of the mech is a great addition. Most Surge sets have some level of lightning on their weaponry, but we didn't really see that on any of the Invasion from Below sets for Surge. So seeing it packed in here, it's a good little throwback. Yeah, this is a lovely Invasion from Below mech. Now let's talk about Mark Surge Exosuit, and this is built by Linax. Dude, exosuits, such a good idea. And one that I would say is pretty different from Invasion from Below style sets. Those were much more like mech suits. An exosuit, I would say, is just like armor that enhances the user, whereas a mech suit is more like a thing that you ride inside of that gives you a lot more like size and maneuverability and different abilities, all that sort of stuff. It's a much bigger upgrade. An exosuit is just a sort of like lightweight machine thing that you wear that maybe makes you a bit stronger. And I think this mock captures that aesthetic very well. And all the different uses of CCBS armor here, that was the perfect way to help you make an exosuit. The way that it neatly wraps over the front of Surge's torso, the way that it shapes these lovely armor pieces on the shoulders, it's magnificent. And also that little yellow and black caution line sticker that's on the upper leg here. I love me a good sticker inclusion, that's so nice to see. And seeing this makes me want to see even more exosuits for Hero Factory mocks. So cool. And look at this next mock. This is by Ron Folkers, and it's very much leaning into the color scheme that we saw on Breakout Surge. A little bit of lime, a little bit of blue, very nice. So this revamp has a nice scarf, and some of these running poses that they're in a few of these images, it creates such a dynamic and cool look. This windswept appearance, these sort of speed lines emanating out of the back. Not really, but that's kind of more or less what the vibes of this scarf give off. And also using the variant of Surge's mask, the awesome one that came on the Brain Attack set, you know, in images like this, where you can see the little cutout in the top of the mask, and you've got those two jutting out lines. Again, it's giving off some really speedy and fast vibes. And I think Ron is doing a great job of really leaning into that idea on this mock. Painting Surge as a bit of an agile speedster that deals damage to villains very quickly and very efficiently. I think that's a really great way of capturing the essence of this character. All those lightning bolts, the zigzaggy lines on the top of his normal mask. I've always thought of this character as very fast, agile, and quick. I remember back in the day, in the old mock pages days of the Bionicle community, I used to think that, hey, if Surge's mask was a Bionicle mask, it would be a mask of supersonic flight. Or at least give you like flash powers, allow you to run really fast, that kind of stuff. It just sort of fits his look. So it's good to see the rest of the body really capturing that same look. So that's a bunch of Surge mocks today. I hope you very much enjoyed. If you like the mocks that you saw in today's episode, be sure to check the links in the description below. You'll see more of their work there. Additionally, in the description and on your screen right now is the submission email. If you want to submit your own mocks to be featured on the show, that's the only way to do so. Otherwise, happy building, and bye for now.